Harley-Davidson is a classic American brand with more than a century of history.
William Harley and Arthur Davidson were just 5 years old in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, back in 1885. They grew up next door to each other and became best friends that grew into a brotherly bond. At just 5 years old, the boys were fascinated with bicycles, after seeing them in a local newspaper ad. But they were too large and expensive, and there was no business selling them nearby. William's father, who was a railroad engineer, spent his weekends building a bicycle for his son's size. After just 3 weeks, he had built a small child's bike suitable for his son William Jr. William Jr. and his neighbor Arthur would spend the entire day outside riding his bicycle, which led his father to build another bike for his son's friend Arthur. A few years later, the boys would see a bike with a motor attached in an advertisement on a store window and had become fascinated with the idea of having their own motorbike. The boys at this time were working cleaning neighbors' yards, but only earned 10 cents a day, which would take too long to be able to purchase a motorbike. As they were in school, they would spend hours drawing pictures of motorbikes in their notebooks in the hopes of attempting to build their own someday. At just 15 years old, the boys began their development of their first motorcycle in their father's garage. They were met with struggles and didn't even know where or how to begin building the motorbike they both desired. William and Harley both applied at the local bike shop in hopes of joining the engineering team to help them earn the knowledge to construct their own motorbike. Within just a few months, the boys would gain so much knowledge, they were both hired as draftsmen at a company called Barth Manufacturing Company, which distributed metal products. William later went on to design his first engine while working at Barth Manufacturing Company. While still in his teenage years, he used the design from a popular French engine, which was being used for the early years of motorcycles called Dion Bouton model. William and Harley spent hours every day in his father's garage working on their first prototype, but lacked the machine skills and the mechanic skills, which is when they sought out the help from Arthur's 2 older brothers, Walter Davidson and William Davidson, which both happened to be exactly what they needed, a machinist and a mechanic. Over the next year, the boys would spend countless hours in their father's garage working on assembling their first motorbike prototype, but faced many challenges on the way. See, William Harley, who engineered the motorcycle, didn't like the way it was coming together, which led them to begin arguing, which almost caused a fistfight in the garage over how the bike should be built. At this point, William wanted to cancel the entire project and leave on his own to find a new crew to help him engineer his motorbike. After sleeping on it overnight, William realized they had to settle the dispute and focus on their project ahead of them, which is when he apologized and they continued working together in a much smoother operation. By 1903, at the young age of 23, William and Arthur's idea that began as children had finally come to production. Along with the help of Arthur's 2 older brothers, they created their first ever motorbike, and the company that we know today as Harley Davidson was founded. Just 1 year later, they had fixed a few issues with their prototype, and they were ready to promote their new motorbike to the public, which led them to join their first ever motorcycle race under the name of Harley Davidson. It proved to be a success. Orders began flowing in as the public was interested in purchasing the first ever Harley Davidson motorcycles. They went on to reconstruct their father's garage into a large building to help them build their motorbikes and sell them straight out the door. Just 10 years later, by 1914, the United States government would begin doing business with Harley Davidson and place an order for 4,800 motorcycles to be used to deliver mail by the United States Postal Service. Shortly after producing thousands more motorcycles for the U.S. Army to be used in World War II. By the 1940s, 3 of the original Harley-Davidson founders would now have passed away, as only the youngest brother Arthur Davidson would be left to run the company. Later in 1950, at the age of 69, Arthur, along with his wife, would be killed in a tragic car accident just 3 miles south of his home.